Oh my goodness, we're back, and we got Tally back. How cool is that? Well, at least for tonight, and then she's off again next week, which we'll be doing a one-shot next week with our alts, our creepy druid spider guy, and the sniper rat, and Fabian, and Melody's alt is the is kind of like the Chandei Quorum investigator.
Rat.
It's always fun. It's always funny watching her go from being the party girl satyr, to the hardcore Chandei Quorum, law enforcement.
Yeah, the straight and narrow guy.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Definitely interesting. So where we last left off, quite a few things had happened. Probably the most important thing that happened was the interesting Speak with Dead ritual that occurred with Trafar, the member of the Ivory Syndicate that had been plaguing Foreign for quite a while, answering questions about the Ivory Syndicate, as well as revealing that Father Atrium seems to be more implicitly involved in a lot of what's been going on as well. It would also appear that that there might be a connection with the Ivory Syndicate and the Ironbound, as it seems that the Ivory Syndicate was attempting to find or locate something in the Ares Spire amongst the rubble and remains of the Ironbound ship. However, it was then later revealed through the mage that Crimp is operating under the fear that perhaps you guys as a group might have been involved in Regina's death. So it would appear that Crimp is under the impression that Regina is now dead. But we also know that per the communication via Foreign and the Bright Queen, that Regina is actually still in custody, as far as we know. Most of this conversation took place after the Speak with Dead effect in Karina's tiny hut that she puts up from time to time inside the Prancing Centaur. However, before making plans to go and listen to Jamansa Ord's speech up at the Chandei Quorum, the team had an interesting visitor. Kaelor Blackhand, the leader of the Ivory Syndicate, came and had a conversation with the team at the Prancing Centaur. And it would appear that not only is he impressed with the overall resilience of the team, but seems to be impressed enough to change the rules of the game. He has decided to no longer be a part of Father Atrium's plan, whatever it might be, although giving up that much gold could be a problem for him. He also seems to know a bit about Spike, the Minotaur who is involved with capturing Fey creatures. But at the end of the conversation, two key aspects were noted. One, it would appear that Kaelor Blackhand would enjoy the opportunity to hire the Prancing Centaur as a potential front for fencing items and other goods that need to be gotten rid of. And more importantly, it would also seem that joining him and participating in this could potentially finally get Kaelor off of your backs, so to speak, and free up your ability to operate and do as you wish, no longer having to worry about the Ivory Syndicate or whatever they might be up to. The team, however, decided to go and get new digs, get dolled up for the evening's announcement up at the Chandei Quorum. Jamansa Ord expected to make an appearance and then make the announcement that the entire city has been waiting for. This idea of the union between Ankarel and Jrusar and the process of slowly reunifying all of Marquet back into a single kingdom upon which it once was many, many, many centuries ago. And the hope is, while arriving at the crowded veranda and garden area outside the Chandei Quorum council chamber, There was a feeling of mixed both adulation and concern amongst the crowd of onlookers and watchers who are here to kind of celebrate in the gardens as well as wait for the anticipation of the speech that Jamansa Ord is expected to give. The crowd grows silent. Coming out onto the veranda overlooking the front of the Chandei Quorum structure, Jamansa Ord, in their kind of very simple look, they never seem to dress beyond the scope of simplicity, and they seem to be holding to that atonement. Flanked by guards on either side, these are guards that you guys do not recognize. These are guards that appear to be highly specialized and appear to be wearing the colors and configuration of Ank'Harel. Probably the personal bodyguards or guards of Ank'Harel itself. Down below, near the main doors and walkway that would lead up to the secondary story towards the veranda that they are standing on, looking down towards the crowd, there are some local wardens that are keeping an eye on things there. But the throngs of people now have gathered amongst the gardens to look up in anticipation of the speech. The horns sound out, they fall silent. Jamansa Ord raises their hand as if to quiet the crowd. And with a very kind of serious look on their face, begins at the beginning. It has been a long time since Ank'Harel truly joined as the jewel of the entirety of Marquet. We have been isolated for far too long. I have spoke with all council members, all of the families that are influenced within the power of Jrusar. And it has been formally agreed that Ank'Harel and Jrusar will form their union for the purposes of beginning the reunification of Marquet and the great kingdoms that make up the regions of Marquet. Our power will reach out to the other kingdoms as well. Those in powers in Vasselheim, those in Nicodranus, those in Wildemont and other regions of Tal'Dorei and Isildur. These are the futures of all kingdoms. Only through our unification of our philosophy and our belief in the importance of the people of the kingdoms will we achieve the level of protection and the needs that we need to fulfill those that are seeking ideals that will send us into the far future that we deserve. At first there's like a low murmuring and then eventually soft clapping and isolated cheers coming from the crowd. Confused looks, others kind of looks of people looking excited and happy that this is finally happening.
I'm going to be scanning the crowd the whole time. Like, I'm not really looking at Jaman. I'm looking everywhere else.
Give me a perception check as you do that.
Certainly. Nat 20 on my first roll of the night. Heck yeah.
Ooh,
That's
good
a
stuff.
28.
28.
Keep that dice.
The crowd is enthralled. Some with disdainful looks on their faces of confusion, others with jubilation on their faces. There's a sense that there's a bit of regret by the crowd that maybe this was decided without any kind of popular ascension, that the council members of the Chandei Quorum kind of went about this their own way. However, it must be some kind of prophetic atonement or opportunity Because as you look up into the night sky, a small kind of like streaking star off in the background kind of begins to fill the backdrop of this kind of momentous occasion. Except Forn, that star is getting brighter, bigger, brighter, and bigger. It's arcing and leaving a trail behind it. You begin to realize, Forn, it is moments away from crashing into the gardens of the Chandei Quorum. And because of that perception check that you got, you and the others have an opportunity to react to this massive spherical object that is about to slam into the front of the Chandei Quorum Council building.
I'm gonna like fire off as many shots as I can and scream like for everybody to get out. Everybody get out of the way, leave, move.
As you do that, you guys notice the Forn
like
points up at the sky, and there's a section of the night sky that's just blotted out by this massive spherical object that's just huge in size. As he starts shooting up at this thing, the crowd starts looking up in confusion. They begin to see it, and they start scattering in different directions as well.
Yikes. Can I cast... Did we get long rest?
Yep.
Yes, you would have a long rest on your character sheet by now.
Can I cast Ride the Rift and try to kind of tell how far is it at this point?
At this point, it is maybe 100 feet above you.
100 feet. Can I wait until it's about... Wait, okay. Erkrio, do you want to go first?
I mean, at this point, you guys are staring up at it. It is 200 foot in diameter. It is now filling up the entirety of the open space above the Chandei Quorum building and above the gardens. When this thing hits, it's going to hit hard.
So,
Melody brought her unicorn, so I assume that she's on that unicorn and phew.
Yeah, she could be taken off on the unicorn, getting out of there as quickly as she can.
I'm
She
going to
made
have
a specific point to have the unicorn though last time.
She did. Go ahead, Professor.
I was going to say, I'm going to have Bright Quill start gathering up anybody that's still in the vicinity and just try to like fly as many people to safety as possible.
Okay. Trio, anything you want to do before this thing hits?
I mean, I'm obviously going to... Are we treating this like initiative? Or
We haven't rolled for initiative yet, but as soon as this thing hits, it could trigger initiative for sure.
I'm gonna bless Forn, Karina, and Professor.
Nice. So everyone is blessed except for Melody.
Get
Get that
1d4.
D4. 1d4 for attacks and saves. Yeah, I love that spell. And you're now currently concentrating on that. So, Karina, you can see that Melody's taken off one direction. Forn is shooting up at it while trying to find cover and get away from it. Professor Jalbatros has leaped onto Brightquill, and he's pulling and dragging people that are running in like chaotic direction. You hear Error Trio invoke Sarenrae's blessing as the blessing of magic kind of fills the space around the three of you. What do you want to try to do as you have a moment here?
Do I have a sense of which direction has the least amount of people?
Yeah, to your left, where the gardens were mostly empty, you get the sense that there's the least amount of people there.
I can teleport within 60 feet and then have a 10, 6d10 attack. I'm gonna see if I can maybe teleport next to it and like kind of veer it to a location that has less people.
The only challenge you have is the size of the object.
How big are we talking?
We're talking about the size of a 5-story building object that's about to slam into the front of the council chambers.
It's that giant building mimic come back to fight again.
No, no, I will not be fooled.
I hadn't thought about that. That would have been pretty cool. No, it's a perfectly spherical, like metal object that's like 3-4 stories size comparison of a building, but just perfectly round.
Do I have a sense of which direction it's gonna hit the most?
It's aiming directly for the front facade of the Chandei Quorum building.
Is there a point to me activating alarm? Or is everybody...
Probably not, because you're aware of it.
Okay, I think my best bet is still Ride the Rift of the spells I currently have. Other than Wrap Sense, if I want to see if there is... it takes like a minute of concentration. I don't have that time.
You do
I
not.
do have summon lesser demons. Would demons be able to hold it back for a bit?
If you know a 5-story tall demon.
Do you still have that? You had True Strike for a while. Do you still have True Strike?
Yes, I do have True Strike.
Because that you were using that before to be able to like learn something about stuff.
True, it does only work within 30 feet, but if I do Ride the Rift within 60 feet and just try and use it to kind of slow the trajectory of it or something, hopefully lessen the overall attack.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
And then when I'm close, I can do what was it called again? True Strike, and see if I can find out what it is and what its weaknesses are.
Roll your 10d6 lightning damage for starters.
That's 34.
34. Okay. As you cast that, and it teleports you out, like off and away to the garden to your left, it allows you to kind of seek cover as well. Everyone's kind of in the midst of either seeking cover or running to get as far away as you can. You watch as the lightning that you leave behind crackles up into this spherical object that kind of ricochets around the bottom of it. You could see little flakes of metal coming off of it, and then it slams into the front of the Chandei Quorum. Just you can actually see the ground ripple away from the Chandei Quorum. I need everyone to make dex saves, if you would, please.
Sure.
Dex save is.
And I was actually planning on teleporting to the sky and then turn into an Aarakocra. Is that too late for that?
Oh no, you could do that if you want. Sure.
Okay, so yeah, I would love to, because I guess the idea was because I was too far away from it that I would be within range also in the sky, and then hopefully to avoid something.
I'll still need a dex save because of the massive explosion of it hitting the front of the council chamber.
Very fair.
I'm glad we're blessed.
Alright.
I have a plus 7 to Dex with Bless. Oh, Bless is just a D4, right? I gotta roll
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, 16.
16. Okay.
None of us are close enough.
Dirty 20 for our trio.
Nice.
Do
you want to roll have access to Melody's character sheet, right?
Do I have access to her character sheet? I do not.
Okay. I will pull it up and I will play Melody. Hi guys, I'm gonna go ride my unicorn into cover.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
Somebody said drinks in the veranda.
I cannot let my hair get messed up. I just got it done. I'm out of here.
Oh, baby.
So I
it
will
makes sense
roll.
the
My
unicorn
God,
just-
level 6 and her armor class is already at 22. Good lord.
I know. That's we had that not fight, but that discussion about who could better use the armor. I'm wearing her old one. It's also why.
Oh, that's right. So
yeah,
she got a
that's
16. What'd you get, Professor?
21.
21. And Karina, what'd you get?
24.
24. Thanks to Thorn's perception of being able to see it start to send down in. A lot of people do manage to clear the way, but some do not. The impact of the object slams hard into the ground and into the front of the Chandei Quorum. There's a look of confusion and like on the faces of Jamansa Ord and the others that were up on the council balcony. The wardens couldn't get far away from the front of the chamber in time. You watch as people are vaporized nearest the Chandei Quorum itself. You also watch as others are scattered prone onto the ground with these egregious kind of wounds and other things from the slamming and destruction. You watch as a crater lifts up in the air. For those of you that manage to stay in the air, you get a sense that the blast wave tumbles you away up in the air. Brightquill is hovering with Jalbatros slightly off to the side. Foreign, you duck under cover. Melody is just riding to get some cover under the unicorn. It's at that moment that all of you watch as the debris kind of patters down to the ground all over the place. Smoke and flame begin to kind of just overtake the front of the council chamber. And there's a moment there where there's a bit of silence as people are beginning to kind of register what just happened. The whole lower portion of the Chandei Quorum building is pushed in flames, no sign of any movement of people. But then you watch as the debris pile begins to shift and the debris begins to roll away from the center. And these two metallic spherical creatures begin to pull themselves out of the crater and start working their way into the crowd and towards the rest of you. Now I need everyone to roll for initiative, if you would, please.
It's like more worlds.
How is Melody's initiative a +0?
Heyo.
Oh.
I think I win this one, unless somebody rolled pretty well. Dang, Airtrail.
Yeah, I did pretty darn good. I've started off strong so far.
Melody got a whopping 5.
Oh, cool. So I'm not last.
You're not last.
So the two charge in and hit stuff guys are the last two to go.
Mm-hmm.
The stay back and don't get hit guys are first up. Yeah.
Just as we drew it up.
I think most of us are the stand back and don't get hit guys.
Right.
So you're currently in your Aarakocran form and flying up in the air. So I can hide your humanoid form for now. Let's see. Melody's back over here behind the gardens. I'm trying to remember if I have a unicorn for her yet.
Because I accidentally
Nothing
clicked
short
on that X button there. Did we all save on that, or?
Yes, none of you were affected by the blast.
Okay.
And you said you're on your griffin, right?
The way I interpreted it is I was going to have.
Do you want Brightquill to try to save people, and therefore
Yes,
he's kind of off doing that? Gotcha.
I kind of figured I can already fly. I don't need to be on him to do that.
Gotcha.
So I'm doing
I've got
it myself.
Foreign seeking cover here with Aerotrail and Foreign this way, and I've got Professor Jalbatros over here as well. I've got Karina flew up in the air immediately to avoid the blast wave. Melody and her unicorn are off over in this direction. As you watch these two creatures come crawling out of the crater, flame, and debris of the front of the Chandei Quorum. However, Thorn, you are up with the lair action on deck.
Oh boy. All right. I don't like the sound of lair action. So I forgot I took the Ring of Fly last time from all the stuff that we snatched off of. I think the mage had the Ring of Fly.
Yes.
So I'm going to activate that. Would that be an action to activate and an action to move? Because
No. We had decided that activating magic items, as long as they weren't like relic based activations, that was just you just automatic. It's a free action. It just activates.
Okay, all right. Then I will activate the ring and fly up diagonally, kind of towards them, but just up in the air.
Gotcha.
My full double check my movement speed, 30 feet. Yeah. That way, does that get 30 feet up gives me advantage on my shots down, or?
I would say yes. That'll give you advantage on your shots.
Okay. Because I'm probably going to end up moving every turn. That just thinking of that for now. Okay.
Okay.
That's going. That's one. I'm going to check that real quick. Can I use another action point to use Zephyr Strike as a bonus action to extend that movement?
Well, we decided that all bonus because we decided that all bonus actions are action points.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Can I burn another action point to continue that movement?
To cast Zephyr Strike?
Yeah, to continue that movement, because it doubles my movement speed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Then that'll be my second action point.
Are you going higher or closer?
Both. Like that, just diagonally. Like I'm trying to get almost kind of overhead, but not quite. Yeah, still pretty high up though.
Okay. That'll put you at about 50 feet up in the air, looking down into the creature's crater.
Okay. And then I'll take my first shot.
All right, go for it.
With the big gun. So I've got my rifle out. This height, I've got advantage on the attacks. All right, that's a 16 plus 9 is a 25 to hit.
That'll definitely hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
All right, so I get, let me mark off Zephyr Strike real quick because I get an extra D8 with that. That's, man, sorry. I should have had my dice a little more ready than I have them. That one, that one, and it's a D4 for the psychic, my Fey Wanderer thing. 12 plus 4 is 16 on the first shot.
And that 16 is that piercing damage for that 16?
That is. 1 second. Yes. No, not 16. It's sorry. It's 6 piercing. 6 piercing, and then 3 force damage, 3 psychic damage, and then 4 more. I guess so. 10 piercing. I'm sorry. 10 piercing because I forgot the plus 4. So yeah.
So as you shoot the rifle down towards the first creature on the left. Mm-hmm. It hits, but it ricochets off in such a way that you get the feeling that it's resistant to piercing damage.
Okay, yeah. All right. I'm still going to take the second shot at it. That's a 18 to hit.
18 will not hit. Your second shot ricochets off it, and this time not doing any damage to it.
Okay.
which I believe leaves you 1 AP.
Yep, 1 AP left. So, since I hit him the first time, I'll use my last my last action to cast Hex. Because once I hit him, I can place a Hex on him.
Yep.
So I'll be concentrating, and yeah.
Hex on the left one or the right one?
The one I hit.
Okay, so we'll say the left one.
Whichever one it was I was shooting at, yeah.
That'll finish your turn. The lair action is all the debris and stuff that is now raining down on the area. Everybody give me another round of deck saves this time.
Where's the closest D20?
17.
That's
17.
20 plus 2, so 22.
Nice. That'll pass. 17 will pass.
That is a 24.
That will pass as well.
12.
That will fail. Melody will pass. Take 12 points of bludgeoning damage from the debris that pelts you as it's raining back down on the general area.
And I'll Constitution on those on that robot. The Hex. The Hex gives them.
Gotcha. You're hexing the con.
Yeah.
Okay.
Constitution.
Okay.
They're big metal things. I assume.
Give me a con save for concentration, if you would, please.
14.
14. That maintains concentration. Eritrea, you are up with the robot or with the sentinels on deck.
Am I right to assume that these are not humanoids?
They do not appear to be humanoid. Like they're making these great loud clanking moves, and their bodies are round at first, but then you watch as their arms and other appendages kind of detach from the surface of the spheres, and then they're using them to kind of pull themselves out of the crater and begin kind of like marching forward.
All right. I got in base to do that. Well, let's test out my magic missile staff that I got a couple.
Staff or wand?
Wand.
It was a wand. Yeah.
Let's do, I guess, 3 charges of it, so a 3rd level. So 3d4 plus 1. Not good. Not good. Not good. 3 straight ones. So
total of 4 force damage.
Yeah.
Okay. You just watch as the magic missiles streak over, like pelt up against the metal hide of one of the sentinels, and it's still moving forward as if nothing happened. Still have 3 AP left.
Oh, so that only counts as 1 AP.
Correct, because it's a wand. Yep.
Right. Yep. How close is Foreign to me and everybody?
Foreign's really high up in the air. He's 50 feet up in the air and at a slight angle, so he's about 80 feet away from you. Melody is by this other fountain over here. She is about 75 feet away from you. Professor Jabaltros is right here, and then Karina right here in her Aarakocran form.
For a second, I thought you were a statue. Just that your mini looks like a statue where it is right there.
So if I fly up into the air, can I get within 30 feet of both? Can I be within 30 feet of both Jabaltros and Ford?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then am I close enough to Karina too?
Yes, you'd be close enough to everybody but Melody.
So I'm going to cast Aid.
Okay.
So each of you, your hit point maximum and current hit points increase by 5. So you essentially get 5 temporary hit points, if I'm reading that right. correct?
Yeah, for up to 8 hours, which means those temporary hit points can be healed.
Yeah.
Which means that they're different than any temporary hit point effect that is not healed.
All right. So did flying up use an AP?
Flying was your AP movement, 1 AP for the wand, and then 2 AP for the spell. So that will finish your turn. This one is going to stomp its way out. It's going to look up at Thorn. It's going to bring its 2 metal shields together. Bring them together. And you watch as chains and blades go shooting out up in your direction as 2 attacks are coming at you, Thorn. That is a 20. Oh, that's 2 23s. Luckily, I wasn't rolling for advantage because I rolled 2 16s.
They both hit.
Oh,
Ouch. They both hit.
Okay. That is going to be combined total of 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yep.
Let's see. 1 AP to move.
And I'll roll my con save real quick.
Yep. You'll have to roll it twice because that was technically 2 attacks against you.
Yep. That was a 12 and a 19.
Okay. So you are good. It is then going to turn towards Karina in her Aarakocra form and make 2 chain attacks in her direction as well. That is an 11 and an 18.
18 would hit.
Okay. That is going to be 11 points of bludgeoning damage on you.
Ooh.
Ouch. Got 1 AP left. It's going to get into base with Melody. And that will finish its turn. The other one is going to move towards this fountain. It is going to take 2 attacks towards Forn as well. That is going to be a 8 and an 18.
18 hits.
Okay. That is going to be 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Right.
Then going to... Got 2 AP left. It's going to take 2 attacks on Karina.
No, what did I do?
You're the only targets it can see. Everybody else around you is dead. That's going to be a 14 and a 16.
They're both gonna hit.
What's your armor class?
14.
Oh, I thought we had gotten you better armor.
This was the better armor.
Yeah, I'm sure you used to be 12. That's
You
right.
need those bracers or whatever it was that they were using. The ones that.
I was going to give those to Karina, I think.
That's going to be 11 points of force damage. Then the last 2 attacks going at, let's see.
It was a 10 on my saving throw there.
Okay, you're good. Last 2 attacks going towards Eritrea. That is going to be a 12 and a dirty 20.
One of those hits.
Okay. That is going to be 6 points of bludgeoning damage. I will finish the Sentinel's turn. Karina, you are up with Javelin on deck.
I'm gonna do a quick
Oh God, Charlie, get out of there.
True Strike. Am I within 30 feet?
Of this one, yeah, I'll say you're within 30 feet of that one.
I'm gonna do a quick True Strike, and I also does it at all remind me of the machines we saw at Crypt's factory?
No, these are unsophisticated. They look like they've been poorly built. Well, based on if you hit with True Strike, because True Strike allows you to learn something about them, right?
Yeah.
No, these don't feel sophisticated at all. I'll give you that much. That they don't seem like something Crimp would make.
Perfect. The one I have is the one where you point a finger at a target in range.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna point my finger and see if I can figure out. Most importantly,
Is there a
weakness.
save or an attack roll that's required? What does it say?
It says one action, concentration. Your point of finger and target. Your magic grants you a brief insight into the target defenses. On your next turn, you gain advantage on your first attack roll against the target, provided the spell hasn't ended.
Okay. So you're concentrating on it and you point down at it. The Sentinel is made of metal and refinements from a city called Bassaris. It is also more of a golem-like construct than it is what you've seen what Crimp works on. You also sense inside the Sentinel is some kind of organic creature that might be piloting the vessel as well, or the construct as well. You can see the little outline of an organic silhouette kind of pulling at levers and chains and kind of manipulating gearworks and stuff inside of it as well.
Considering I already attacked it with lighting before, do I have a sense that maybe lighting would be particularly bad for it, or is it just kind of the same?
It's hard to know. I mean, you get the feeling that your lightning effect probably did a little bit of damage to it as the overall giant sphere was coming down. But you get the feeling that these two things were inside a larger object and they were protected from that initial strike.
Okay, I'm gonna teleport behind it and hug it while I do the lightning strike for maximum damage. Would it change anything? Or is it just dramatic? I'm okay with it just being dramatic.
Well, hugging something that's like 2 or 3 stories tall is always interesting. I mean, you're doing Ride the Rift again?
Yeah.
I mean, you could be 60. It's a range of 60 feet.
Yeah, but after that I want to see if I can transform into something very small and find a crack and get myself in there. So I guess my goal is...
Oh, I see what you're trying to do. Okay. You've already got 1 level of contamination, right? From using it in the opening salvo.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So if you use it again, that's going to give you another level of contamination.
Yes.
Okay. Each creature in this line must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. So it's going to... Luckily, these things are not very dexterous. That's definitely going to fail. Go ahead and roll the 10d6 lightning damage.
God damn.
I know, right?
That's 26. Why do I always not roll great when I roll mass?
26. You guys watch as Karina goes over behind the Sentinel, and as she does it, there's a trail of lightning that follows her all the way up to the Sentinel, and the lightning rebounds off the Sentinel. You can see flakes of metal and metal plates kind of bend and warp as the Sentinel's get rocked by the amount of lightning it takes. What are you turning into that you think is small enough to kind of find its way inside?
I had previously been a pixie. I assume that's on the smaller
All right.
end.
Yeah.
And I also have my invisibility juice.
So Ride the Rift is a spell, so that's 2 AP. Correct? So you have
Is
2
1 AP.
What's 1 AP? Say that again.
Transformation is considered an action, I believe, so it should be 1 AP.
For transformation, which means you wouldn't have the ability to cast invisibility.
It's not... I guess, is drinking from a potion the same as casting?
No, that's an action if you're using a potion of invisibility.
Perfect. So I'm going to use the potion of invisibility.
Perfect. So you guys watch as she rides the lightning over the Sentinel, and the Sentinel gets racked by the lightning damage. You watch as the Air Cochrane turns into a tiny little pixie and then goes invisible. And that will finish Karina's turn. That brings up Jalbatros. Professor Jalbatros, you are up with Melody on deck.
Okay. How far away is the other construct with that Fourn's been fighting?
That's the one that's close to you.
Oh, it's the one that's okay. Sorry.
It's
I
this
made an
one. The one
assumption
over
I
by
was wrong.
Melody is over here.
Okay.
And then the one that he's been shooting at is here. This one actually shows a pretty decent amount of damage has been done to it between Karina and Forn. But you get the feeling that it's resistant to piercing, which now your concern is it might be resistant to like most kind of like common damage, like piercing, melee, or I'm sorry, piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing.
Okay. First move, I'd like to fly around the back where Karina made her attack to it.
Okay. As you come around the back side of it.
All right.
And you're flying at the same time, or do you land?
I kind of assumed I was flying. But yeah.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, Kurt.
Hey, I don't make the jokes; they just come to me. You know, it's a MAGA construct. It's resistant to PBS.
Nice.
Piercing, bludgeoning, slashing.
All right.
Oh my god, that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna steal that acronym. That's a good acronym.
So, all right. I'll happily burn a. Can I do a? Let me check. An investigation check just to see. Like, I know Karina did something. Did I see her transform into another form, or just?
Yeah, you saw her turn into a pixie, and then you saw her go invisible. And based on the damage that's been done to the Sentinel, there are you know her style, so you get the feeling that she's probably trying to figure out a way inside the creature, because there's bends and warps in the metal that have created small gaps that a pixie could fit inside.
I'm just reading something. All right, so what I want to do is I want to look at whatever I think the deepest hole in the armor of the creature is. I'm going to cast Sacred Flame as deep as I can within that hole.
Yeah, cast Sacred Flame in there. Is that a save or a ranged attack?
It's I think it's Dex. Sorry, I think it's Dex 15.
Okay.
I'll double check that real fast. But 15 Dex save. Yeah.
Yep, that's gonna fail. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. What is mine? It is 2d8 radiant. All right.
Nice.
All right. That's not that great. It's only 4, but I'm trying to do shit inside of it past the armor.
Yeah, you got
So
2 AP left. Yeah. You gotta get up to near one of the gaps and you pour the radiant energy down into the gap. There's a bit of a smoke and spark kind of spitting out of the damage, but other than that, it's still in the fight.
All right. I'm going to try hitting it that same spot with my Scorch Scale Maul.
Go for it. You get 2 attacks, I believe.
Yes. I need to find one. First one is, what is that, 19?
19 is its armor class. That will barely hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. So 2d6 plus 4, and then another d6. Let me find a third d6 here. God, my rolls suck. That is 4 bludgeoning and 1 fire. So
4 bludgeoning, like as you slam into it, it rings in your hands as you realize the metal is definitely resistant to bludgeoning, so that'll be half damage.
Okay. So it's
but
only
the fire damage is complete. It does not resist fire.
And it's plus 4 to the whole thing. But because I hit him, I want to try to do a. This is the one that has the. I'm sorry. The
Catch it on
disadvantage
fire,
on con, right?
He has disadvantage on con, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use Topple because the ability with my maul. So I'm assuming I'm doing this in the gears of its knee or something. So he has to make a DC 8 plus 3 plus the ability I used, which is 7 in this case. It's a.
Is it con or strength?
This is what it says. It is. When you hit a creature with maul, you can force it to make a con saving throw, and it's DC 8 plus 3 plus the ability modifier to use to make the attack. And in this case, that is a plus 7, so he has to make a
DC 18.
18
at disadvantage because of Hex.
Yep. Oh my god! I rolled a natural 20
Uh-huh.
and an 8.
Cool. It's an 8. Nice.
8 plus its con modifier. That's a 7, so that's a 15.
Okay.
This thing is very beefy.
It fails.
It still fails. It's gonna fall over prone.
Yep.
And when it does, it kind of rattles you inside. Karina, you just feel the whole thing just like bounce on the ground, and like everything begins to rattle around you as you're like diving through the falling like little bits of metal and other debris inside. A little puff of radiant flame.
Oh, shit.
Goes right
before
past.
I forget, because I'm still weirdly not used to doing this. I'm fine if this uses up my final my final AP. Can I use a Divine Smite because it was a physical weapon attack?
So your 1 AP was to move into base with it.
Uh-huh.
Your next AP was Radiant Strike.
Mm-hmm.
And then your next AP was to take 2 attacks. Have you taken your 2 attacks yet?
Well,
or did you just take 1?
He knocked it over.
I only used 1 attack, but I get 2,
you still get to use your second attack, and you could still spend an action point for
Attack, yeah.
for your Divine Smite.
Okay, so I will happily do that. I'll roll the damage on that in a second, but I'm going to do that at first level because I don't know. Oh, wait. Well, I can use it. What is it? I get 1 freebie one, so I think. So
You have to roll the hit first, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But
I mean, technically, he can use Divine Smite on that first attack that he did.
that's what I'm saying. Is I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Go for it. Yeah, roll damage for your Divine Smite first, and then you can take your second attack.
All right, so Divine Smite. That one's not too. That one's not bad. That is a. That's 9 radiant damage to it.
Nice.
This wouldn't be a fiend or undead, would it? By chance?
Unfortunately, not. This is a construct.
Yeah, I figured. So that's my freebie one. So let me roll to attack him again with my second attack. Well, he's prone, so who knows?
Yeah, you have advantage on the hit.
Oh, I do.
He is a prone target.
All right, so ooh, cool. 19 plus what are you? That is a 26 to hit.
That'll definitely hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. So same melee. 5 fire damage, 5 bludgeoning damage, and plus 4.
So 9 bludgeoning, which would be half the 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that finishes your turn.
Well, that was my second. I'm sorry. The Divine Smite. Gotcha. That's
that was your 4th AP.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Melody is up, and she is currently in base. We'll say she's mounted on her unicorn, because why not? That's totally cool.
I think you can do that now on Hero Forge too.
Yeah, you can make mounted figures.
Definitely
let's
side
see.
saddle. That absolutely.
Oh yeah. There's something like a hoof.
No.
Someone with hooves riding something else with hooves.
Uh-huh.
I know that, like, I think we talked about. I'm never not going to see her unicorn as Celestabella Bethabel from Gravity Falls. Just just being a complete dick.
Let's see. She is going to. You know what? She is just going to wail on it for starters. With her long sword.
Wait, she has my ice maul, remember?
She just rolled a natural 20. So that is going to.
She took the lightning maul, didn't she? Or did you keep the lightning one?
No, I thought it was a. Oh yeah, you're right. It is. I thought it was ice for some stupid reason. But yeah, it's a Thunderstrike maul. She has that.
Yeah, but I don't. She doesn't have it equipped, so I don't see it on here. However, I'm going to have her use that with both hands. So that would normally be 2d10. So she automatically does 20 points of damage. And then I'm going to roll 2d10 plus 3, which is another 16 points of damage as she hits it for 36 points. of slashing damage, which will be halved to 18 because it is resistant to slashing. And she's going to do it again. That's going to be a miss. And then she'll spend an AP putting some, let's see. She will put some Searing Smite into that. Con save. It's actually going to fail, so that is 7 points of additional damage. She'll spend her last 2 AP to make 2 attacks. Hold on, let me make sure I did that right. It was Searing Smite. Yep. Searing Smite. So that'll be one of her second level slots. And then she's going to spend 2 AP to make a regular attack on the creature. 17. Unfortunately, that is going to miss. That'll finish Melody's turn. Top of the second round. Foreign, you are up with the lair action on deck.
Okay. Something's got me feeling like there's some shady stuff going on here. So I'm going to use Zephyr Strike again to double my movement speed. I want to fly towards the Chandei Quorum just to get a look back inside the building.
Okay.
To see if the only thing that happened were these 2 things came out of it, because it was a big giant orb, but now 2 things came out, but did one maybe go in?
Give me a perception check or investigation as you look down into the crater. I forgot to clean this up.
Because because with Zephyr Strike it gives me double the movement speed.
Correct.
So that would put me. I think that should put me right up next to the thing. And then perception check, you said?
Yep.
All right.
Or investigation. You can use either or.
8 plus that is 15. No, 16. Okay. That's a 16.
As you're looking down into the crater, you can see the trail of the 2 sentinels that came out of the crater. There's no sense of a third one. Whoever was on the front of the building or on the veranda, I mean, they were vaporized. You don't see any survivors whatsoever.
Okay.
So you have 2 AP left.
Yep. And where I am...
You're right here. There's one that's prone on the ground and one that's in base with Melody.
Yep. The one that's prone... yeah, I'll take my shots at that one.
Okay, because it's prone, it's at disadvantage, but because you have height, it's advantage, so it's a regular shot.
Prone, okay, because I'm above
targets that are prone, unfortunately, are considered disadvantaged to shoot.
Yep. That's gonna miss on the first shot.
Ricochets off the metal housing of the sentinel.
Second shot's gonna miss.
Okay.
Got
one AP left.
Okay, then I'll take my last AP. I'll fire at the other sentinel, the one that's standing.
Go for it. Yep.
So with height, I switch targets. With height, I get advantage on the attack, right?
Yep. It's prone. You have disadvantage.
No, the other sentinel.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's not prone, so you have advantage. Yep.
Okay. Good grief! I'm suddenly rolling nothing right now. Even with advantage, that one's not going to hit on the first hit. Second shot, 28 will hit.
28 will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Yeah. All right. This is a different guy, so he's the. Where's my dice? The D12, D4. So that's 17 total. That's 13 bludgeoning plus 1 psychic.
Piercing or bludgeoning?
Piercing, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it's 6 piercing, and then how many psychic?
1.
1 psychic. Okay.
And that's it.
That finishes your turn.
Yep.
Everyone give me dex saves for the lair action.
Am I inside the robot?
Yes, you are. You do not need to make a dex save there, Tally or Karina. You are good.
Dirty 20.
You're good?
19 this time.
Yep, that's good.
I believe that's a 20.
Melody will fail, and she will take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
24 for me.
That'll succeed. So, what'd you get, Eritrea?
He had
Dirty
20.
Oh, that's right. So everyone saved but Melody, who took some bludgeoning damage from the debris kind of pattering down. Eritrea, you are up with the sentinels on deck.
4, and how you doing health-wise?
Bloody, but still up.
All right. Am I within 60 feet of Foreign?
Just barely.
Yeah.
Just barely. No, in fact, I would say you'll have to move. Yeah, you'll have to move about 20 feet in this direction to be within 60.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Healing word at a second level.
Go for it.
7, 4, 8, 9.
And Foreign, you've been rolling with Bless, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For my saves, yeah.
And your attacks.
Oh, not with the attacks, but
Points.
I rolled. Yeah. That would be nice to know. You know,
It's fast.
nice to pay attention to. How much was that?
13 points. 1
13?
3.
Yep.
Nice.
I look over at Eritrea and tip my hat.
Eritrea, you have 1 AP left.
Let's. Let's just, shoot a magic missile at him. Let's see if we do any to the one closest to me.
Okay.
It's
It
another one.
always automatically hits. How many charges are you using?
Just one.
Just one?
So
Okay,
2
go ahead and
points.
roll. 2 points.
points.
2 points of force damage. It's not immune to, or it's not resistant to force damage, so the little missile kind of, excuse me, hits it, and like a little bit of paint and metal kind of ricochet off where it hits.
All right, that's my turn.
I'll finish your turn. The sentinel is going to fold in its arms and legs and roll.
You can imagine what it's like inside there. Just
Yep, it rolls. So it's able to roll away from Professor Jalbatros without an attack of opportunity because of its special ability. And then when it orientates itself, it's automatically in a normal position. So it does not lose half of its movement to stand up. So it's got 3 AP left. It is going to take 2 shots at... I got to change the batteries in my keyboard. It is going to take 2 shots at Jalbatros. That is a 10 and 11. Both those will miss. It'll then pivot upwards towards Forn, take 2 shots. That is a 16 and a 15.
16 hits.
Okay. That is going to be 8 points of bludgeoning damage.
All right.
Got 1 AP left. It'll take it'll take 2 shots at Air Trio. That is a 15 and a dirty 20.
Both hit.
Okay.
It was an 11 on my con save.
That is going to be combined 21 points of bludgeoning damage. I need 2 con saves from you, Eritrea, to maintain bless. 10 or higher.
Hi.
Con saves.
Hey, babe.
17 plus 1, so 18. Dirty 20 on the second one.
Yep, you're still
Roll
concentrating
really well.
on bless. That will finish that one.
15 points of damage, right?
21 points of 21 points of bludgeoning damage. This one is going to take 2 attacks on Melody with the giant metal plates. And both those will miss. It's going to spend 2 AP to do it again. One will hit. She will take 9 points of bludgeoning damage. And then he's got 1 AP left. He is going to use his steam attack. So she has to make a dex save. That will save. She'll take no damage from that. And that will finish the creature's turn. Karina, you are up with Professor Jalbatros on deck. Now, for you, you're now inside the contraption as a pixie. Looking around, you can see all this weird kind of metal and copper, like conduit and piping. You can feel the steam of the interior of the place. In fact, it's so hot inside the contraption. I need you to make a con save, if you would, please.
No.
You have the most amazing opportunity for Thunder Wave ever.
If only I'm out of spells. I have a selection of spells that I can only use twice.
What'd you get for your con save?
Hey,
19.
Okay, you're good. You're not affected by the heat yet. What's your passive perception?
My passive perception is 15.
Okay. So as you use an AP to move deeper towards the where you believe the pilot to be, you come around the conduit. In your small pixie form, you're now hovering inside, avoiding all the kind of shimmies and moves of the construct. And then sitting in a little pirate chair is the strangest looking goblin you've ever seen. Their right arm is mechanical. They have a metal plate over the left side of their face with like this metal tubing running into what looks to be a bunch of levers, buttons, and pulleys that they're in the midst of. And they do not seem to notice your pixie form.
Hey, I'm also invisible, I believe.
Yes. So that's why they don't know you're there.
Yes. And beforehand, I used True Strike, which usually means that I have an advantage in my next attack if it's the same thing. But
Absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm gonna let the creature and the construct to me are the same thing. One's the pilot, one's the apparatus. So and because you notice the creature through your True Strike, I'll say you'll have advantage on it if you attack the guy.
Perfect. So, do I want to shoot him or do I want to do Eldritch Blast from like...
Eldritch Blast, you're a
0?
warlock.
You're a warlock.
Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
It's your own shoot it.
I'm just going to go directly in front of its face. Just like directly where the brain is.
If one
like,
good portion of its face is still focused on piloting and looking at the magical space in front of it, as you can now see what it can see outside of the construct. As soon as your first blast goes off, your invisibility drops.
Perfect. So, am I close enough that it's just like a crit since I'm shooting it from like, in front of his eye?
No, you still have to hit.
Okay.
But it's with advantage though, so
True.
more likely to crit. Statistically.
Thank God to the advantage. Oof, that's sad. That's a 13.
Its armor class is a 12. That'll hit.
Thank God.
Remember,
Okay,
it's just the
that's
creature,
so
the pilot.
embarrassing.
So, yeah, it starts screaming the moment you appear in front of it. The Eldritch Blast kind of like slamming into its chest. Go ahead and roll damage.
This is so embarrassing. That's a 2.
A 2.
Oh,
I
no.
guess I'm doing it as a fairy, so it's just like a little ee.
It's almost like a high-powered flashlight.
It's really embarrassing, you guys.
Do you get one attack or 2 attacks with your Eldritch? You get 2 with your
attacks.
Eldritch.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God.
Yeah.
I feel like it's this
I'm using
Roman candle.
Dice Eric gave us.
Roman
I believe in its
The
word.
Roman
How
candle.
the other dice has failed me.
What'd you roll to hit?
That is a 17 plus 7.
24 will definitely hit. Roll for damage. Yeah, roll for damage.
You know what? I will not be fooled again. I'll use them twice.
Would you get like the heavy hit or whatever plus a D6 or whatever for being over armor class?
A D4.
D4, yeah.
Yeah, I stopped tracking that because I kept having to remind everyone. So you guys either remember or you don't.
Well, yeah. I didn't know what their AC was to start with, but yeah. That one was definitely over armor class, though.
Mm-hmm.
That one's a 4.
4 for damage. Did you roll your D4 as well?
Oh, I didn't. Did I do that last time? I didn't. So can I do 2d4?
I don't think you were over it on last time. You were 13 last time.
Oh.
Yeah, you weren't
It's
over
the
his armor
D4
class.
for being over the armor class by 5.
Yeah, you gotta be over by 5 to get that extra D4.
That's a 4, so that's going to be 8.
8, yes.
Nice.
Those of you on the outside watch as the Sentinel kind of wobbles for some reason, and it kind of shimmies a little bit. The pilot looks very rough.
Like smoke
From your
coming out of the
perspective,
inside.
Okay, I'm going to take my gun now and just shoot point blank as much as I can.
Okay.
In my fairy form, so I guess it's a tiny gun.
Yeah. You
Bigger. So
pull
I
out
can
you pull out your little Derringer.
It's Fairy's 22, so to
Yeah,
everybody else,
yeah.
it's like a
Yeah, maybe you turn into a
0.022.
hobbit first or a halfling.
It turned into a Goliath while you're in there, you know?
I think I'd suffer the most
It would look cool.
to everybody but me.
Definitely wouldn't look like that dwarf that we put in the pot in the last game.
Oh god.
What'd you get to hit?
Oh, 13?
13 will just bear. Well, it's an armor class 12, so yeah, 13 will hit.
And that's an 8.
8 points of piercing. This guy has 1 hit point left.
Do I have another AP?
It was an AP of movement to get into base with it. It was an AP to attack it the first time. Now, technically, I should charge you 2 AP for a regular attack for the second time because it's, you have disadvantage.
Oh, but
Otherwise.
I did 2 different attacks.
No, it's not. It's
I did the Eldritch Blast and then I did my gun.
yes, but they're both considered ranged attacks.
Oh.
So it's a spell ranged attack and then a gun ranged attack. So it's concurrent. If you had done like a cantrip and then something else, you wouldn't have garnered that disadvantage. But unfortunately,
Oh wait, but my Eldritch Blast is a cantrip.
right, which is 1 AP.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that second attack with your gun, if you want to avoid having to re-roll at disadvantage, you could say you spent 2 AP. If you say you only spent 1 AP, then you have to re-roll with disadvantage.
I see.
So
And
you could
I
either
also-
take the hit on the 2 AP, that way the hit's still good. Otherwise, you're rolling dice.
I think I'll roll dice.
All right.
And I
So
think
go ahead and
I'll do my
give me go
order
ahead and give me a second roll on that 13 that hit.
Okay, I'm gonna do my Murder of Ravens, and I'm gonna summon my Murder of Ravens inside this tiny place.
How that's an action though, right? Is that what's that?
It's a 1 action piercing damage, and I guess that would be instead of the gun or instead of the cantrip, whichever makes more sense.
Okay. I like that idea. So you're still so instead of shooting with the gun, you're going to summon the Murder of Ravens.
Yeah, just so that-
Gotcha, because that'll still leave you an AP, and then you can take the shot. So we'll say that the gun counted, and then your Murder of Ravens. Is Murder of Ravens an ability that you have, or is it a spell that you use?
It's an ability I have as a
Okay.
follower of the Raven.
Perfect. Perfect. You, like, sensing the near demise of the goblin pilot, you summon a swarm of ravens to wrap around him, and you watch as they just quickly pick skin and bone to, like, nothing until just the kind of framework of the goblin is, like, slumped forward, releasing all the controls. For those of you outside, you notice as the object just kind of fall, like the sentinel just kind of falls over onto the ground, and kind of sags in on itself and doesn't seem to be moving anymore.
Do I have 1 AP left?
No, that will finish your turn. That's all 4 AP. Professor Jalbatros, you are up with Melody on deck.
All right. I'm going to start flying towards the other one, kind of on the way. Like I didn't know this is going to be 3 AP. That's fine. But like, I'm going to go ahead and cast Moonbeam on the one that Melody is fighting.
Okay, yeah. Con save, right?
Yep, con save, and he still takes half damage if he fails.
That is an 18 plus 7 is a 25. So he saves, but he'll still take half damage. So go ahead and roll.
All right, I gotta find it. I think it's just 2d8, or sorry, 2d10 rather. Yeah, 2d10. So let me roll that real fast. And I'm hoping that our intrepid murder goblin is going to do a thing on his next turn that makes this a little more worthwhile. All right, it's only 5 radiant damage, but that's not the point.
Is that already halved?
For radiant damage?
For the Moonbeam. Did you already have it, or am I having the 5?
Well, I'm saying it's
passed the con save. He passed the save. It's half damage.
yeah. It's that. Sorry, my bad. I have not had that. It is only 2 damage. Then
2 damage. Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering if you already halved it for me.
I did not. Sorry, it was such a low amount. I was like, but it's radiant. What are you talking about?
You got 1 AP left.
All right. Screw it. I might as well Sacred Flame him. So that is another 2.
You're technically in base with him if you want to hit him. But either or, up to you. He does have crappy decks. Oh, wait a minute. I apologize. He is hexed.
Nope, not that one.
He hasn't changed.
Oh,
it
no,
yet.
that's right. The
Yeah,
other one was hexed. You're right.
I can't.
That's what I was like.
can't-
Next turn, it's going to be like
I can't move it till my turn.
Gotcha.
So I have the Moonbeam dropped on him, so as long as I can keep concentrated, but that was to set him up, because I assume he's going to do that next turn, hopefully, probably, maybe. But let me double check something, because it's honestly more of a what's... I'm not real worried. I'd rather do the... what do I think it's going to be? All right, I'll hit him with my Score Scale Maul.
Go for it. You get 2 attacks.
All right. The first one, I'm going to say misses because it's only an 11.
Yeah, that one's going to ricochet off the armor.
All right, next one is a 21.
That'll definitely hit. Roll for damage.
I feel like if you're using that maul and you nat 1 on this, like you need to do the baseball bat thing where like you hit it and it bounces off and hits you in the face.
All right, ooh, cool. Did 6 fire damage to it and 10 bludgeoning damage.
Half to 5. Okay.
I also get to do the same thing for the maul action. What is that? The topple. So
yes, Topple needs to make a con save
of 18.
Yeah, that's 11 plus 7 is an 18.
Okay. So
meets it, beats it. And like it actually kind of rocks for a minute and almost topples over, but then kind of rights itself.
All right. So that's all I can do. So he's Melody.
All right. Melody is up. She is going to continue to do what she's doing. She is going to attack. Which is going to hit. That is going to be. Actually, I rolled the wrong one. I want to roll this one. It's going to be 6 points of slashing on the first one. Just going to swing her longsword again. That one's going to miss. She is going to spend 2 AP to do it again. That is going to hit. Be 9 points of slashing, half to 4. Second attack. That's going to miss. That leaves her with 1 AP. She is going to Sacred Flame it. It will succeed on its dex save, so it does not take any damage. Taking us top of the third round, Forn, you are up with the lair action on deck.
All right, this one's standing up this time. So, let me. Bonus action, move the hex. I have to do it
on to
with
the
a
other
bonus
one.
action on my turn.
Is there a range limitation for you to do that?
90 feet.
90 feet. You're
Oh.
just barely at 90 feet because
Okay,
you
so
are.
I can move up if I need to. So.
No, I think you're like really on the edge, so I'll let that move.
All right. Then I'm going to. I'm just going to shoot it from up here. Yeah.
Go for it. You have advantage.
Yep. Take the first shots. See what the blood dice gets us. Oh, cool. No, doesn't hit. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
But
Double ones would have been interesting because it still would have been a critical success.
I know, but I get to roll the d6, and if it's a 5-6, I don't jam it. So, and nope, it's jammed. So I'll take my next action point to unjam it with mending.
Okay.
So that's a 3, right? Last.
That's 2 AP. Oh no, 1 to move the hex.
I moved hex. Yeah,
and then 1 to fix the jam. So you got
jam,
1
yeah.
AP. Yep.
All right. The last one. You know what? Yeah, I'm just gonna take the shot. It'll be a straight roll though, right?
Yeah, it'll be a deal.
Yeah.
No, because you fixed your jam first, so it's not concurrent.
Okay.
Remember,
So
if it's not concurrent, then it's considered a regular shot.
Yep. 21.
21 will
first
hit.
shot. I'll want to roll a second shot real quick. Just
Go for it.
since I'm still here. And a 19. So just
Both
hits.
will hit. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's do 12, D4, and a D6. Okay, so the first one is going to be 15, 19. So it's 14 piercing plus
7 piercing plus
4 necrotic plus 1 psychic.
Okay.
And the second one is only 7 piercing.
So 3 piercing. Any other damage?
That's it on that one because the hex and everything. I don't think hex goes on every attack. I think it's only on the first one. I'll double check it real quick. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. That will finish Forn's turn. Everyone give me dex saves for the lair action.
Oh
It's
no,
more-
it is whenever I hit it with an attack. It doesn't say on the first turn.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll roll another
Damage.
d6 real quick. Sorry. For 3 more necrotic. So
Nice.
and dex save.
Yep. Melody will save.
Dirty 20 here.
It will save.
He's 17.
Karina, you do not need to make a save because you're still inside the contraption.
19 that time.
I got a 17.
Yep. It's a DC 15, so everyone saves. No one takes any damage from the falling debris. Eritrea, you are up with the Sentinel on deck.
All right, I'm going to cast. Cure Wounds at a 2nd level on myself.
Okay. I keep the support class up.
Okay, so 7, 6, 13, 18 plus 7, 25. Back to myself.
You know it's a bad fire day when inside my hermetically sealed studio with the AC running, I can still smell the fire outside.
Ooh.
That sounds amazing, by the way. That sounds great. You don't live in a hellscape at all. It's fine.
I would say if not for the potential hellscape outside, yeah. I mean, smelling the smell of fire is great, yeah. But
It's just they've had a pretty significant fire raging in Riverside, so I think the smoke is kind of settling in our county right now, our valley.
All right, so it's 2 AP left. I want to essentially move into base with. Or am I in base with that guy already?
No, this one is no longer.
I saw it
the angle.
Yeah, this one is no longer functioning, and this one is about 75 feet away from you.
Yeah, so well, let's try to get as close as possible to it. So that's
What's your movement speed?
30.
30? 10, 15, 20, 25. 30 gets you right there.
So use another 30 to get a little bit closer to it. So
Okay. That'll get you within about 10 feet of it.
that's my turn.
All right. I'll finish Eritreo's turn. The Sentinel is up. It is going to use 1 AP to initiate overdrive. So all of its attacks now have advantage. So it's going to spend another AP to... It's going to start with Professor Jalbatross.
Move your butt, buddy. Move your butt.
The first one is a 21 to hit.
Mhm.
And the second one's a natural 20 to hit.
All right, so they both hit.
Okay. We'll start with the crit, because that's automatically 8 points of damage. Plus a 3, 11, plus 5. So that's 16 points of bludgeoning damage for the first one. And then it is 7 points of bludgeoning damage for the second one.
What was the total on that? Sorry, I'm trying to math in my head and I'm not good at it.
18 total of bludgeoning damage.
Okay, cool. All right.
It is going to take 2 attacks on Eritreo. First one is a 17 to hit.
That hits.
The second one is a 19 to hit.
That hits.
9 plus 10, that's 19 points of force damage. Good thing you healed yourself.
So
Last AP, it's going to take 2 attacks at Melody. First one is 24 to hit, which will hit. Second one is a 12 to hit. That will miss. That is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage. Melody. That will finish the Sentinel's turn. Karina, you are up with Professor Jalbatross on deck.
Just so I'm clear. God, I can't word. It's been one of those kind of days. I did make my. I got a 15 to maintain concentration.
You got it. Yep.
Okay.
Did you roll for both hits?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, because you got to roll for each time you're struck.
All right, that second one, and there's no bonus. It's just
your con save. No, it's your con save. Concentration is always your con save.
Okay. So, all right, so it's +3. So, all right, so sorry. My con save is +7. Cool. All right, that is a dirty 20.
All right, you are maintaining concentration. Karina, you are still inside the now destroyed. Well, the Sentinel itself is still looking like it's functional, but the goblin creature that was piloting it is like nothing but skin, bone, and sinew after your flock of ravens have like picked it clean.
I mean, that definitely sounds
Hijack
like
it and use it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Time to do some Pacific Rim.
Well, copyright. Not Pacific Rim, Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
To be extra clear.
I get a D6 inspiration. I like that joke. I very rarely make good jokes.
Does that mean that the D6 inspiration is going to be given to our enemies?
I don't like to use them during combat. I use them for other reasons.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's reassuring. I'm gonna sit where the goblin once sat.
Okay.
Kind of just see if I can get a layout of this machine. Does it feel vaguely
So
intuitive?
spend because of True Strike is technically still active, right?
Yeah.
So give me investigation with advantage, if you would.
And I'm also just gonna mention that I did give an offering to Atonement, and I am connected with the goddess of death. Maybe
Nice.
kind of through the veil and give me some help here.
Well, go ahead and give me investigation with advantage as you do this.
She and Trauma were the best friends.
Mhm.
So first one is 25. Second one is a lot less than 25.
Nice. First one was 25. You get the feeling that like you hear a little voice in your head and it reminds you of Trauma's voice, and it begins to guide you, and you look at the panel in front of you. The pulley chains balance its movement. There's a couple levers that you force forward that manages its attacks with its weaponry. You kind of get the gist of piloting of the basics of it.
Hi.
Okay. I'm gonna roll over to the other guy and just slam into him.
All right, so you start mimicking the. Give me a sleight of hand as you do that.
That's gonna be a 4.
4. As you manipulate everything after you turn it back into its ball form or its sphere form, it starts rolling towards what you intend to slam it in to the other one, but instead it kind of like slams into the fountain. It just kind of like it rolls and just kind of like runs into the fountain, kind of rattles you a little bit. What would you like to try to do next?
Are there any shooty weapons?
No, there's just these levers that seem to cause the metal panels to do a ranged bludgeoning strike out up to 60 feet.
Oh, am I within 60 feet of the other guy?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna attack him.
So because you're not proficient with the use of this construct, the panels can attack twice. So you can give me 2 rolls with disadvantage, and you have a +7 on your attack roll.
Ooh, okay. So first one, the lower one is 13. So plus how much again? 7?
+7, 20. So that one will hit. Go ahead and roll for the other one, the other attack.
The lower one is 2.
2. Unfortunately, the second one misses, kind of ricochets off and doesn't strike the sentinel. Go ahead and roll a D8 for damage and add a 5 to it.
Feels pretty good to be on the other side.
Except they're resistant to bludgeoning.
3 plus 5. So 8. Wait, no, how much was the plus?
+5.
Yes. So it's going to be an 8.
Say I have the 4, resistant to bludgeoning damage. You got 1 AP left.
Do I get a sense from the inside of like what might be the biggest weakness of those machines?
Yeah, the pilot. Yes, like you feel that that's the weakness, is the pilot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna try and roll onto him again in hopes that I kind of create more dents or something.
Which is going to be a double disadvantage. So you roll 3d20 and take the lower of the 3 rolls.
Ooh, okay, maybe that's a bad idea then. That's too many. I don't roll good even when I have an advantage. So this is really
Go for it. You never know. You might roll 3 1s or 3 5s or 3 7s.
3 1s are very likely in my case. if I use, like, is it connected to magic in any way? If I do a spell with this, does it kind of like go through?
No, you'd have to be outside to cast any spells on anything.
Makes sense. So, yeah, I'm just gonna roll at him. So it's gonna be sleight of hand.
Oh, you want to roll at him again? Yeah, pull the lever. Give me sleight of hand as you try to roll towards him.
Pull the lever, Crunk.
That's 11.
11. You guys watch as it pulls its appendages back in again. The sphere attempts to roll. This time, as it rolls towards it, it kind of finishes rolling over the fountain and then rolls past Melody.
No!
Barely like missing Melody, and then poof, slamming into like a tree and topiary design in the
My
background.
Pacific Rim moment.
That'll finish Karina's turn. Professor Jalbatros, you are up with Melody on deck.
Okay, 1 second. So first thing, I'm going to roll for the moonbeam. So, and he is. At disadvantage on-
That's right. I got to roll a con save on that.
With disadvantage.
Yep, that is
All right.
a 9 plus 7 is a 16.
That does unfortunately. That does save. That sucks. All right, so he takes 6 damage. That is with the that has been halved.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'm going to try to just. I'm going to fly up and try to break apart an area of his armor. So just going to do some physical attacks to the same area that Karina was working on the other one.
Okay,
So first one.
Go for it.
That is a 23.
that'll definitely hit. Roll for damage.
All right, where did my D6s go? Where did you little bastards get to? All right, so it does. This is already being halved, but it does. Yeah, I know. 6 fire damage and 6 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
So that's strike 1. All right, let's go for the second one. See what I can do. Ooh, nat 20.
Nice. Max your die roll and roll them again.
All right, so let's see. That would be. God, I hate doing that. That means 12.
So what dice do you roll whenever you hit?
Sorry, I'm doing that. It's 2d6 plus 4 bludgeoning plus 1d6 fire. It's the fact that the fire doesn't have.
So you automatically do 12 bludgeoning and 6 fire.
Yeah. So
And then you roll them like normal. And then add your modifier.
okay. 12. Not too bad. So that's 9, 13. 5 more fire damage and 4 more bludgeoning plus 4 for both of those.
Okay.
These are already again for all that shit.
And the surface of the construct is looking dented. You can see that metal's peeling away. There's gashes in the metal. It's looking rough, but it's still in the fight.
Okay. Are there any holes to the interior, or is it still just a solid sheet?
There's some very small gaps in the metal currently.
Okay. Do I have any range things I can do?
I think you still have 3 AP left.
I do. I'm seeing if I can do anything else that would be from range, but I don't think I have anything for it. I'm going to go ahead and do a sacred flame to the area I was trying to hit. It's
Okay. Dex save.
dex save of 15.
That's going to fail. Roll for damage.
All right, so 2d8. So normally I have all my dice in front of me, but my desk is really cluttered, and I don't have that right now. All right, not bad. That is 12 radiant damage to the same area.
12 radiant damage. You got 2 AP
radiant?
left. He's still in the fight, but he's looking rough.
12 radiant damage. Can you convert that to degrees?
What did you say there, Kurt? I couldn't hear. I'm sorry, Foreign, I couldn't hear you.
I just asked if you convert your radiant damage to degrees. It's bad math joke. Come on, man.
God.
Fucking dad jokes.
Hey,
You're the worst, Form. All right, so I guess I'm going to try to hit him again with my maul. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I'm going to try to topple him because...
yes. That
so
previous...
he has to do disadvantaged con save of 18.
That is 12 plus 7 is a 19.
Damn it. All right, I'm going to try hitting him again with
Go for
my
it.
maul.
Yep, regular attack. So roll twice.
Oh, I thought it was because I used a ranged attack or whatever with my...
That's why I'm
Six
saying
of
it's a
flame.
regular attack.
Okay.
Normally it'd be at disadvantage, but because you
I'm
switched
sorry.
it
I
up,
thought you
it's
were
a regular attack.
I took that one.
No worries.
All right. So that is a 22 to hit.
That'll definitely hit. Roll for damage.
21. I don't know. All right. So, all right, 1 fire damage and excuse me, 5 total. No, I apologize. 6 total bludgeoning damage. And
Okay.
I'm gonna try for the topple again. So try to make another.
That is 10 plus 7 is 17. That's going to fail. So he is toppled over. Is now prone. So your next attack has advantage.
All right. Well, in that case, I might as well keep going. So, and hopefully, I'm trying to all this in the same area, like trying to make it through to the whole area. Oh, nice! I did in fact get a nat 20.
Nice. So you automatically do 12 bludgeoning and 6 fire damage.
you got
So now roll that 2d and roll all your rolls again.
All right, so that is another 6 fire damage, and 8 bludgeoning.
Yeah, there are now huge dents, big like foot gashes in the metal. This thing is looking very rough.
Okay. The area that I'm doing it, is it letting in any of the... I know I just finished my turn, but this is for the next turn. Is that letting in any of the moonbeam? Like, would that do damage to the interior?
I mean, you're looking at the damage. You can't see anything in the interior. It's a pretty large construct, but you get the feeling that this thing is definitely in very rough shape.
Okay. And not subtle, like, is the pilot going to have to roll for the moonbeam's effect next turn?
Well, I mean, to be fair, you don't even know the pilot's there.
Yeah.
So Melody is up. She gets advantage, so she's going to attack with her longsword. She will hit. That is going to be 10 points of slashing, have to 5. She is going to take her second attack. Advantage. That's going to miss. She's going to spend 2 AP, do it again. First attack will miss. Second attack.
Hey, buddy. How are you, Charles?
Second attack, unfortunately, will miss as well. She's got 1 AP left. With her 1 AP, she is going to do Sacred Flame. Actually, for once, the deck save will succeed, so no damage there. Takes us to the top of the 4th round. Foreign, you are up with the layer effect on deck.
Okay. So, question.
Shoot.
If I were to use, so I've got one more first level spell slot, so I'm going to use my last Zephyr Strike. My goal is to land on the head area of that construct and shove my gun barrel into the face and just fire off shots.
And you're allowed to do that at close range, right? Like when you're in
I took
base.
gunner, so I don't have a
Gotcha. Okay.
short range problem. Yeah.
Yep, just making sure.
Okay.
Go ahead and take your
but
2 shots.
I was like, doing that, would it give me advantage, being that I'm not at range? I'm on its face right now.
Well, it's prone, so you have advantage because it's prone.
Well, if I was flying at a height, I had disadvantage though. That's why I was.
Right,
sure.
but because you moved into base with it, you get the
Okay.
and because of your gunner's ability, you're basically shooting your gun as if you're like right in the middle grill of where the head of the sentinel is.
Yep. I was making sure I got it all right. So that was 1 to move, or because with the Zephyr strike, right?
Well, is that you move and
2,
you use
yeah.
Zephyr, so that's 2. So
Yep.
you've got 2 left.
Good.
That's a 17 plus 9 is 26. I can do
6, that'll
math.
definitely
I can
hit.
do
Roll
math.
for damage.
All right, and that's with a D8, D6, D8, and a D4. I get to roll 4 dice this time.
Nice.
Okay, bludgeoning damage first is 15 bludgeoning damage plus 2 necrotic damage. Sorry, 21 bludgeoning damage. Sorry, 2 necrotic, 3 psychic.
Nice.
What is it? Force or bludgeoning? Sorry, it was.
It had 3 hit points left.
You
so
killed
you're
him
good.
regardless.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it had 3 hit points left.
Hey.
You're good.
I was looking at my character sheet, not noticing the screen went blank. So I was like, "Oh crap!" I was going to scroll through to see which one I missed.
Can I, in my robot suits, try to high five someone?
You give me a sleight of hand check to manipulate the controls.
She's
I feel
gonna.
like I'm the least likely to be killed by it, so sure.
Message everyone. We get it.
She's gonna punch the albatross. through
Yeah, you guys
the-
watch as Ford just kind of zips down from the air, plants his feet on the shoulders, and points the rifle like down into the grill work. And you just watch as the front of the head and the back side of the sentinel's head just kind of spray metal, and that's also where the head of the pilot would be. So it's just like this kind of shoulder and neck stump where the pilot used to be. And there's this strange kind of like gelatinous blood with a little bit of green and blue tint to it, kind of filling the space as the second sentinel is no longer operating. However, the first one is operating in a very awkward way. It's trying to jump up around and do a high five mimic.
I have to say, I just got an 18 on my sleight of hand on that high five.
All right. Yeah, we'll go with that then. It gets up on his feet. There's a little chromatic kind of device in front of you. You guys can hear this high-pitched squealing pixie kind of yelling high five as the robot's like jumping up and down, trying to give everyone a high five.
Melody would be supportive.
Born is like holding his gun aimed at the other robot, but also just confused because
It's me, for fuck's sake, give me a high five. Look at this, I'm operating a robot.
Wardens are starting to arrive. It is the front of the Chandei Quorum council chamber is fully engulfed in flame. The crater, the 2 sentinel remains are there. Wardens are arriving, and people are like recovering. It's chaos all around you.
Can we say that Melody gave me a high five?
Yeah, I definitely would agree that Melody would have had the unicorn give you a high five with its horn. Just like,
That's beautiful.
give you a little tap.
Okay, now I can get out of the suits.
The little Karina pixie comes flying out of the Sentinel framework.
I'm gonna start ritual casting Identify on the suit. Just I'm picking at it, prying at it, looking at it, trying to figure out what the heck it was.
Yeah, I love it.
I kind of want to. Can I take like a perception check to see if there's anyone we should be worried about coming over to us? That's I'm thinking is Crimp going to be trying to grab these?
With your passive, what's your passive perception?
13.
13? I mean, you actually don't notice anyone paying attention to you at all. Like, there's a couple wardens that see you guys kind of over by the destroyed sentinels, and they seem to give you that look on their face like you guys have it handled. Most of the effort seems to be trying to gain entrance into the destroyed Chandei Quorum Council building. People are being dragged out. You can tell that lots of dead people are being dragged out of the building. Most of the building is heavily engulfed in flame. You watch as the front of the facade crumbles in on itself from the damage and the continuous fire and smoke kind of pouring out of the front of it. What would you guys like to do?
All right.
I'm still identifying that.
Yep.
Can I discreetly... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Can I just discreetly turn back into an Aarakocra and then just use control flames to put out as many fires as I can?
Yeah, give me sleight of hand, because you did say discreetly. Turn back into an Aarakocra. Sorry, not sleight of hand. Stealth. Stealth. Give me a stealth check. Yeah, my bad.
This is so sad. Why am I rolling like this? Can I try again using the dice Eric gave me?
You have that ring.
By all means,
you have that ring that gives you advantage on stealth, right?
Yeah, you do have that ring that gives you advantage on stealth. So, yeah.
True. Okay. So let's say I used it, and now it's a 12 as opposed to a 4.
Yeah. I mean, no one's really paying attention, so you kind of like just quickly turn back into your Aarakocra form, and you and Melody, like Melody sees you fly off towards where you're trying to help with putting out the fires, and she kind of comes along with you as the two of you kind of help focus on the Chandei Quorum structure, the building itself, seeing what you can do over there. You begin to kind of control flame, and you snuff out the smaller flames, and you watch as someone comes running in like they're trying to get into the building, and you kind of put the flame out in front of them, which allows them to get inside, and they drag out a smoldering form over their shoulder, and the smoke is kind of like steaming off the form. They kind of look up at you and give you a big thumbs up, and you hear, thanks. It kind of lays the person down. Melody does like lay on hands on the unconscious body, which brings them back to consciousness. And we'll say for the next 10 minutes, that's what you and Melody focus on. This kind of helping with the rescue, healing as that's going on. Foreign is concentrating on trying to identify the Sentinel. Eritrea and Jalbatross, what are you guys doing with the kind of chaos swirling around?
I was going to go up to the building, find a side that is the side that is least likely to be on fire, basically.
Okay. From what you can tell, like you get up and like you watch as Karina and Melody have already gone over there. So you look past the front of the facade, and like the back sides of the building still haven't been fully engulfed yet. So either the right side or the left side looks like a good starting point.
Okay. So I'm just going to pull out my maul. I'm just going to start. First, I'm going to use thaumaturgy to do some trimmers just to try to loosen any kind of... is it stucco or is it like a brick building?
It's kind of like a stone and mortar building with a kind of marble finish to it. We'll say that with your maul, you start kind of hammering into the side of it with your thaumaturgy every time kind of cascading. Give me a athletics check as you're doing this.
Okay. Charlie's being very difficult right now. He's just sitting where my mouse is, so I can't actually use it. Let me see what my bonus is. But athletics, that is a 21.
21. You slam into the wall like 3 times. You watch as a 6 foot tall by 3 foot wide section of the wall just kind of collapses in on itself. And a bunch of people choking on smoke and showing signs of damage from the explosion start kind of like funneling out of the makeshift exit that you kind of create. A couple wardens see you doing that, come running towards you and start helping people evacuate out of the building so far. You hear a warden, have you seen Jaman Sa'ord yet? Has anyone seen Jaman? And people are like shaking their heads. They got like bloody and like they got bloody streaks on their face. They're struggling to see. The smoke and fire is getting kind of intense as it's beginning to still continue. So, Eritrea, everybody's busy doing something. What would you like to do?
Being who I am, I'm going to be healing people.
Okay. Yeah, you quickly rush over to where you see Melody, and you and Melody are tag teaming it. Like, Karina is helping put out fires. People are getting rescued. You and Melody are doing what you can with your lay on hands to kind of like, her lay on hands and your healing ability. You're kind of like just catering and trying to do as much help as you can. Foreign.
Is there anyone that is dead that I can bring back to life?
If you'd like to, there are plenty of dead bodies lying around, unfortunately.
Is there anyone that seems of high importance that I could revivify?
You can see. Oh shit! Give me a perception check.
Okay.
You asked the question, so you.
That one. So
you can see a form lying on its side. It's hard to make out who they are, the amount of disfigurement and damage done to them, but they're wearing the counselor's robes of the Chandei Quorum. This feels like it could be someone important, and you should probably bring them back to life.
I'll revivify this person.
Okay, you quickly put your hands on them. You consume the power of the diamond. It dissolves in your hand, and you immediately see their eyes open. They begin to cough. The familiar voice of Lord Callion begins to, what's happened? Where is everybody? What has happened? As you bring back to life Lord Callion.
Ooh.
You could choke him back out, you know.
You just look at like Karina and Melody stare over, like, oh fuck.
I'm imagining Foreign seeing this guy get risen up, and he just turns around and shoots him in the face.
Well, unfortunately, Foreign's concentrated on identify, so he doesn't even notice that you're doing that. Foreign, you finish your ritual cast on the Sentinel. And the Identify actually gives you a pretty decent amount of information about the magical construct of the Sentinel. It is made of a core construct magic that would be similar to like an Iron Guardian or a Steel Guardian, those kind of typical constructs that are made, but it's made from its framework. The metal plating identifies as Bazarus bronze, this rare kind of tough metal that's used in Bazarus to kind of used to make armor and other things as well. The Sentinel itself has a magical resistance infused into it as well. It's also got a mixture of magical power stones that help make it function, but the pilot seat is the main part that reveals itself to you. That comes from pretty powerful artificer magic. Somebody with the ability to infuse enchantments, to infuse the magic of the pilot seat and what it's capable of doing. Other than that, not much more is revealed.
Is Bright Quill still around?
Bright Quill is busy kind of helping, will normally take Jabaltros's lead. So you can see Bright Quill is over by where Jabaltros is helping people escape the backside and the side area of the Chandei Quorum building. So he's busy helping the professor.
I'm going to try and get Bright Quill's attention.
Okay.
And like holler at him, hey, Bright Quill, come here.
As you holler at him, Bright Quill looks at you, Professor. It would appear that your friend is in need. Did you mind if I go and see what he needs?
Just kind of wave him on.
Of course. And there's like a dead body in his beak that he kind of drops to the ground and then goes trotting over to where Foreign is.
Bright Quill.
Yes.
I need you to get these back. I need to get both of these back to the Prancing Sentinel.
How the fuck am I supposed to lift a 3-story Sentinel?
You're magical. I don't know.
I cannot carry these things. They're huge. And look, wardens are coming over. And you watch as a larger group of wardens are now coming over, being led by like a tall captain-like figure. He sees you kind of experimenting with the sentinels. Sir, if you mind leaving those be, and please evacuate the area. We will take care of them.
Tell you what, you can have this one. That one that still operates, I'm taking it. I killed it.
That's great. We appreciate your assistance, but please move along, sir. Evacuate the area immediately. And you watch as like 10 wardens step up to kind of like usher you away from the one that you're near. And Brightquill's like starting to growl like he's getting ready to attack the wardens.
Go ahead, Brightquill. And I'm gonna like shift out behind him, just kind of sneak and straight line towards the other sentinel that Tally came out of. Yeah,
and as you straight line towards that one, another group of wardens are going towards it as well. They are not going to let you get away with this thing. Not that they can carry it away either. I mean, these things are huge.
Yeah. If I have to, I will Misty Step up to get up into it quickly.
Okay. So as they're approaching it, you Misty Step up onto the sentinel. Are you going to try to crawl inside of it and find the pilot seat?
Yes.
Okay, you crawl inside, you disappear into the interior, you find the pilot seat inside, and you see all these strange like levers and pulleys and contraptions of all sorts inside.
I'm taking out the tome of ingenious crafting.
Okay.
And we'll...
Hey, get out of there! What are you doing in there?
I think that summons the unseen servant at the same time, and like to help me...
Yeah, it floats alongside you
to help me start activating this thing. And I'm gonna what looks like the speaker thing. I'm just gonna holler out like, "Back off! This is mine. I don't want to hurt you."
You can now hear strikes on the metal surface of the sentinel. You could hear like blades and spears jabbing at it, and you can see that there's a warden that's trying to crawl into the interior, but he's stuck.
I don't want to hurt you. I'd crawl out if I were you.
You need to get out of this thing now.
What did I just say? Do you want to die, son?
You try intimidation or persuasion, your choice.
Okay. Let's go with persuasion. That's a 16 plus 5 is a 21.
Yeah. He immediately feels the sentinel start moving and coming to life. And he's like, oh, fuck. And he starts backing out and he falls to the outside of where he was trying to originally crawl inside. You feel the sentinel right itself as the unseen servant is helping and guiding you on which levers and things to push. You watch as the electronic or the magical opaque kind of translucent field rises up in front of you so that you can actually see around, and you're now surrounded by like 20 sentinels, and the captain is wordlessly like kind of pointing up at the sentinel, and he's like, you know he's chastising you, but you can't quite hear what he's saying.
I'm going to, as carefully as possible with one of those arms, like push them out of the way.
Roll to attack.
And work, because I'm not intending to actually hit them, because then I'm going to try to roll off the edge of the thing. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, roll to attack.
The metal paddle's just going to swipe at them to move them out of the way.
That's a 10. What's my modifier on that?
+5 or +7. Sorry, +7.
Okay, so 17.
Yeah, there's like, whoa! You hear all these yells and shouts as some tumble away, and you feel the sentinels start gaining speed and heading towards the edge of the spire.
And I'm gonna try and roll it off the spire, but kind of tuck into that ball, kind of like how it landed here. But down to
I
the
will
bottom
give you this as a freebie because you did make the inquiry earlier in the combat. They were inside of another spherical device.
Okay.
This thing is not resistant, or this thing is resistant to bludgeoning damage, but it is not immune to falling off a 200-foot cliff.
Okay. All right.
Or 200-foot spire down into the lower portions of the spire.
Well, then I'll try to get to the edge and then just try, if it's possible, to crawl it down.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just-
give
we're
me
going off the side,
acrobatics.
and we're gonna start crawling down the side of that.
Yeah, give me acrobatics or athletics. Because you're in the Sentinel, athletics you have a +10, acrobatics you have a +5.
How about an 18 for acrobatics plus 10's a 28?
Yeah. So for the rest of you, this is what you see. As you're healing, revivifying, and doing the good works that you normally do when you're in this kind of chaotic situation, all of you take a moment to look up to hear a bunch of yelling. You see a couple dozen wardens get brushed aside by the Sentinel, and then you watch as the Sentinel lumbers over to the edge of the spire as if to consider jumping off the spire. Its big Sentinel arm kind of scratches at its head as it mimics the pilot's, expectation. You then watch as it slowly edges itself over the edge of the spire and disappears as it begins to crawl down the side of the spire. And you watch as 24 wardens start running up towards the edge of the spire, chasing after it. You're on mute, Karina.
Karina screams, "Get him!"
Hey.
They don't know you're inside there. As far as I know, somebody just Grand Theft Auto the Sentinel.
No, I assume it was Forn.
Yeah, that's fair. He usually gets into this kind of trouble. This is very fair.
Can I use the chaos to kind of sneak into the Chandei Quorum?
Yes. How are you sneaking in? Because the front half of the structure is fully engulfed in flame and smoke. You can see over where Professor Jalbatros and the other wardens are helping people escape from the backside.
Can I use control flames?
Make your way inside. Just kind of
to just kind of
give
myself a path forward.
Give me acrobatics or athletics as you try to push into the interior while controlling the flames at the same time.
Okay, that's a 9.
Give me a con save, if you would, please.
Do I still have the effect from the wonderful blessing? That...
No, that minute would have expired by now, unfortunately.
Fair. That's a 2.
2. You take 8 points of fire damage, and you are now considered to be blinded as you're unable to see beyond the engulfed flames around you.
God damn it.
Do you continue to try to go deeper, or do you stumble out of the flame?
I'm gonna give myself false life, and then I'm just gonna continue control flame.
Yeah, you cast false life on you, and you start kind of forming things up, and you're concentrating again. Give me athletics, acrobatics again to try to control the environment around you.
The good dice. The good dice has failed me. That's gonna be a 9.
Give me another con save, if you would, please.
Okay, I'm not giving up on the good dice. I should have given up on the good dice.
What'd you get?
A 3.
3. Take another 8 points of fire damage from the effect around you.
Not back down.
Yeah, you come stumbling out, covered in soot and burn marks all over you. Your hair is kind of frizzed out. You're in your Aarakocran form, so your feathers are all singed and your clothing is all singed. You actually have to kind of pat yourself out as you stumble out of the flames.
Baka. Okay. Now that I look like rotisserie chicken, I'm gonna transform into something a little bit more subtle, like my halfling form, Bimbo Baggins.
Okay, so you're back into being Bimbo Baggins. Female halfling or male halfling?
I'm sorry?
Female or male halfling?
Female.
Yeah, Bimbo Baggins. That makes sense. As you turn back into your halfling form as a changeling. An hour goes by. The fire is eventually put out. The arrival of people that have have magic abilities to help put out the fire. More wardens come in. The last of the survivors are taken out. You watch as the entire Chandei Quorum building just collapse in on itself at the last minute as all of you back away. The only person absent is Ford. The rest of you stand there in the midst of the gardens looking at the kind of calming remains of the chaos around you as it is nighttime, obviously. It's sunset at the beginning. So far, no sign of Jamansa Ord anywhere during this time.
Wait, did I make it inside?
No, you didn't.
Oh. I suffered so much for nothing.
Unfortunately, yeah, you staggered back out and were unable to get inside, but it's late. No one seems to... The mood is bad. Like, the mood is very down. Like, people are confused. Wardens are beginning to cordon areas off. There's an area over by the gondola that reaches up to this part of the Chandei Quorum that is also being cordoned off. And as people are being evacuated on the gondola, people are being questioned. And, so it's taken a while for people to get onto the gondola. There's a lot of activity. The one thing you notice now, the fire is out and the building's collapsed in on itself. So for Karina, Eritreo, Professor Jabatros, and Melody, no one's really paying attention to the four of you right now because they're busy either moving rubble, trying to find any last-minute survivors, or they're escorting people off of the area, off the core spire to help them back down into the gondola. So what would you four like to do? And then we'll come back to how the hell Foreign's going to hide a robot in the middle of the city.
So one of the things that
after I revived him.
Oh, Callion? He's being tended to by wardens. You also notice that he is being tended to by priests of Bahamut, as priests of the Wild Mother, or those that cater to the Wild Mother, those that cater to Bahamut, have been, or sorry, it's Helm, right? We decided it was
Dawnfather.
No, Dawnfather. Sorry, yeah. People dedicated to the Dawnfather are now here, administrating to those that are suffering. And Lord Callion is being catered to by a familiar priest.
Man, if I was there in that suit.
So what would the three of you like to do?
All right. I want to make my way back over to the destroyed construct. I basically, are there any decently sized shards of metal?
I would say the main construct is surrounded by a dozen wardens that are preventing people from getting too close to it. Give me a perception or investigation check as you look around the area where the one sentinel was and also where the current sentinel is.
That is a ability function.
What did you get, Professor?
I had to double check and make sure. 16, 14 plus 16?
2. 15 plus 2 is 17. Did you say 15
14,
plus 2?
14 plus
14 plus 2. I would say you find one particular piece of metal that is worth collecting, and no one's paying attention to you because you're far enough away from the main sentinel that's under guard. A 2-foot long by 1 foot wide section of the metal plating you find, and you're able to recover it.
Okay. So, do I notice anything else? Any rune stones or anything else that got dislodged in combat?
Lots of little bits of debris, little bits of like metal conduit, little bits of. I'll say you do find the fractured remains of a power stone. It's no longer lit with power, but you find the fractured remains of one.
Okay, cool. So, refresh my memory. This is not in combat. I know when Charles was there, we knew one guy that worked that I can't. Sorry, I'm trying to.
The oil pot guy.
Yeah, the oil pot guy. Did he only deal with automatons, or was he also like a?
No, he was considered a engineer and a smithy. He did both. He mostly worked on making repairs or making kind of like adaptations or augments to automaton creatures. But he was like the first. It was the first time he'd ever interacted with one. So his knowledge is strictly trauma based. So technically, Professor Jabbertross wouldn't know anything about the oil pot guy.
I'm sorry.
This is more me, like not necessarily metagaming, but making sure.
So above the table. Above the table. Gotcha.
Yeah, above the table, like making sure that we might have there may actually be a person the group has encountered that to do what they want to do. So I'd like to go back to the to the building, just kind of make sure, help Eritrea with any injured survivors, just lend my talents there.
Yeah, you go collect the scrap metal, and you and Eritrea are kind of like staring at the destroyed building. Karina is standing alongside of you. So the three of you are like at the base of the destroyed building, where the front is all caved in, the ceiling's all caved in, the back walls have kind of cracked and spilled out. It's very hot. Like there's a lot of heat, residual heat, coming off the building and coming off the structure. But it's beginning to cool. You watch as a mage is floating around and casting some kind of water or ice effect onto the building. Big gouts of steam are coming off the building.
Can we hear anybody inside the rubble of the building?
Give me a perception check as you kind of like try to listen in.
That is a dirty 20.
Nice.
You can hear the crackling of wood that's still kind of hot. You can hear stones beginning to kind of shift a little bit with the settling of the flame. It does not sound like there's anyone left alive inside, from what you can tell.
Can I head into the building and just see if there's anything worth salvaging? Any documents or books or anything that might actually have some...
Yeah, in fact, the other wardens assume that you're just trying to find people. So you guys watch as Professor Jalbatros starts heading into the rubble of the building. Does anyone else want to join him?
Yeah,
Karina, the three of you with Melody kind of keeping an eye on things, but the three of you kind of journey into the rubble of the building from what you can tell. Some of it's hot to touch, so you kind of avoid those spaces. But you get to the point where the original balcony was, which is now all kind of crumbled and collapsed in on itself. The three of you give me investigation checks, if you would, please.
Hey, Charlie. You just hang out with me, huh?
I got a 4.
That's an
4.
8.
8.
15.
15. You're the one that finds it, Karina. Buried under some nearby rubble, the Ankarel signet that Jamansa Ord had around their neck. It is covered in the residual remnants of blood and skin. There does not seem to be any physical remains of Jamansa Ord whatsoever.
I'm going to just investigate it for a little bit.
The signet or the area?
The signet. I'm going to do detect magic and identify on it and really make sure it is what I think it is. And if there's anything...
It is a magical device. It is the charmed signet of Ankarel. Whoever wears it can detect thoughts twice per day. It also gives you the ability to cast charm once per day. This definitely feels like something that Jamansa Ord would have owned.
I'm going to put it in my wrist pocket dimension alongside with the parts of the body.
Parts of what body?
We said skin.
The skin.
Yeah, there's not really any body left. It's just a little bit of residual skin and blood on the actual device itself.
Okay, so I make sure to keep it on there.
Okay, tuck it away into the pocket.
Oh, actually, before I put it away, I do still have the compass of locate person. So
do?
I'm gonna make sure that if they are here, I would be able to locate them using this belonging of theirs.
As you hold the compass and hold the belonging at the same time, the compass needle begins to freely spin without stopping. That tells you it cannot find the person.
Okay, now it can go in my little pockets.
Okay. Forn, as you have left the others to deal with whatever's going on in the Chandei Quorum, you are halfway over the edge and down the beginning of the core spire. You could see through the transparency that the Wardens are still at the edge looking down at you, and every now and then you could hear a rock bounce off your form. Where are you going?
I'm going all the way to the bottom. Like I'm trying to zigzag my way all the way down to the wilds.
Okay. Give me another athletics or acrobatics roll. +5 for acrobatics, +10 for athletics.
Oof, that's a 16 this time for acrobatics, or for athletics. Sorry.
Yeah, you stumble a couple times, but you got to hang on with your grip. The movement speed on this thing is pretty quick, so you're going down pretty fast. Takes you about 30 minutes. Before long, you're passing through the jungle canopy of the Odoran Wilds, and you're now down within the base rock and Odoran Wilds canopy itself as you reach down into the jungle and onto the ground. So far, no other pursuit that you can see.
Okay, I'm gonna try and roll. I'm going to roll a very roundabout path, but to go back to the ruins. And I'm like gonna park this thing back behind the ruins in as much brush as I can, but I want to make it a roundabout way, like zigzag over myself a few times before I take off that direction, just to make it. And I'll do it rolling instead of walking, so that it's an even weirder path to try and follow.
Give me a survival check to pull this off for starters.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a 14.
14. It's a difficult thing to pilot down here. The tropical wilds, or the jungle wilds, and the area to get near the ruins takes a bit of an effort to get to. It's a bit of a clumsy path, but not an obvious path. Before long, you reach the far side of the ruins, and you begin to kind of position the sentinel in amongst the rocks and the undergrowth and the nearby dense kind of jungle trees. Give me a deception check to see how well you disguise the device.
Okay. That's a 14.
So anyone looking for it needs to roll a 14 or higher, and they might be able to notice where it is.
Yep. I'm not leaving it. I'm just trying to get it back out of the way. And so once I park it, I'm going to not burn my token, but use the token and contact Professor Corinne. Well, I'll do one to everybody, just going off and say, like, I'm down by the ruins. I've got the sentinel here. Bring the skiff. And once I've sent the messages, I'm going to use the unseen servant, and we're going to start dismantling the sentinel. Like, just immediately start taking it apart.
What tools and things do you have available to you to use? Because this is a pretty beefy and large. This thing's actually considered giant in size. Yep. Give me, because the invisible servant is helping you. Yep. Give me an insight check, if you would.
Okay. That's 15 plus 5. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. It feels like that this might take a week to disassemble.
Okay. This is something that now Forn is obsessed over, just because the thing was huge. He wanted to identify it. Now he wants to hide it. And his thought now is the best way to get this thing hidden is to take it all apart, and we can, with the skiff, be running pieces back up to our shop. But he's got a plan in mind about what he learns from taking this thing apart, what he's trying to do for the group next.
Okay.
So, there you go. Excuse me. I'm gonna kind of check in with the others and make sure that Eritrea, Karina, and Melody are okay, and then just be.
You're at the High Tree. You're at the High Tree Station ruins. Is where you're at.
Yeah, the old behind the ruins there where we fought the big space. What the heck was that thing called? Star Devourer or whatever.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to make that the other three are doing okay before I basically just head up to kind of get. Hey, I'm going to take care of that thing that Thorn just mentioned. Bright Quill, can you make sure these three make it back to the shop safely, please?
Of course, sir. Karina, Eritrea, Melody, please be sure to make it back safely.
I meant escort them or carry them.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to just simply reassure them. Got you, understood. I suppose I could. We have a separate problem. They're clearly going to question us over at the gondola, aren't they? I mean, I can fly away and leave you all here to suffer the indemnity of Fawn's decision to steal somebody else's property.
I mean, he technically absconded with evidence. He didn't steal anyone else's property.
Well, no. To quote the Chandei Quorum Charter, 2.567442, anytime a warden has commissioned or determined or has acquiesced an object for investigation, becomes the property and ownership of the Chandei Quorum. I read books too. Anyways, I leave it to you all to figure it out. You watch as Brightquill just flies away. Melody looks up. That's a real dick bird.
Hey, the ancient right of finders keepers supersedes whatever the quorum came up with. So.
Just pinching the bridge of my beak, just like I hate that Griffin.
Melody's like, so what do we do? Do we stay here and wait to be asked questions, or should we just sneak the fuck out of here? What do we do?
Can we try and get further in? I do feel like there has to be something going on in there. Is it completely blocked?
Getting. You want to go more into the remains of the building? It looks like it's kind of done for, don't you think?
Gonna turn into a little fairy.
Well, okay. I mean,
where there is potential loots, I will go even if I have only 3 AP left.
No.
Finally, I am motivated.
Yeah, give me a survival check as you start kind of going over the rubble remains and see if you can find another way or another access or some way to get deeper into the remains of the building.
Wow, I'm not rolling good today. That's 12.
You find some places that look like you could get in and get into the edges and the fringes of the building, but every time you find a pathway in, you kind of run into a collapsed area that doesn't let you get any further. So there's small ways to get in, but you're not finding any ways to get deeper into the interior of the structure.
If I set a tiny hut in here, they won't be able to see us until the morning. And
That's
with renewed power,
true,
we can probably sneak in and, get to work.
You also get the feeling that this place is going to be crawling with wardens in the morning. Like, this place is going to be on lockdown as soon as everyone gets their shit together.
I do also have, for myself, I guess, or maybe more people, merge with stone, which I think allows me to just chill inside a stone for a while.
For you, yeah.
Yeah,
Unless they break the stone.
unless they break the stone. Uh, Again, I really want to be in the front of the line to seeing what's inside there, because that means that there are like potential documents, potential objects that are currently unguarded, and maybe people. But I think the opportunity is too good. So I'm gonna keep trying to find a way inside, and when I finally have to give up, I'm either gonna do tiny hut or I'm gonna do merge with stone.
Okay. Professor Jabatros and Eritrea, what are you two doing at this point?
I'm going to just kind of. I assume that most of the wardens are kind of concentrating on ground level, so I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, the wardens are like spread all over the garden area, and they're still kind of like in the process of clearing out people. The majority of the wardens are now around the Sentinel. They're over by the gondola, and they're beginning to create a perimeter around the entirety of the destroyed building.
All right, so I'm going to just find an opening on one of the upper floors. I'm just going to fly out towards our skiff.
Okay, so you're being way up in the core spire. You're going to make your way over the edge and find a way you can just kind of fly down and go locate your skiff. You guys keep the skiff at the Airy Spire, correct?
Correct.
That sounds right.
Okay, so you're going to head over towards the Airy Spire and try to collect the skiff. Eritrea, that leaves you and Melody staring at Karina, who's frantically trying to find a way into this building.
Melody still have her potion of invisibility. Wonder if we
She does, yeah.
Unless Jalbatros plans on coming to swiftly, but he's probably going down to the ruins, I would imagine.
Yeah, he already told you that he's going to go help Thor and try to collect the Sentinel.
Yeah, I want to try to use my potion of invisibility to get onto one of the gondolas.
Yeah, Melody's like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. And like, she downs one. She goes, look at my hair. It's going to take all night to fix this. She dismisses her unicorn. And the two of you are now invisible, heading towards the gondola. Go ahead and give me a stealth check with advantage, if you would, Eritrea.
I imagine Melody in that Playdom.
Well, normally she'd have disadvantage, but because she's invisible, it's a regular roll, and that is a dirty 20.
I just imagine the sound, though.
Yeah.
With advantage, I got a 9.
A 9?
Yeah.
Melody, like, it's really funny. Like, Melody makes it on the gondola, like, turns to hopefully see you follow her. But then the gondola door shuts, and you're watching as the gondola is tracking downward in the core spire. You're standing there by yourself, and you notice 3 wardens are kind of like staring at that part of the gondola. You hear them like, well, I swear to God, something just bumped into me, mate. And the other guard goes, well, let's go check it out. And he starts, the 3 wardens are now approaching where you're standing. They don't see you, but they sense something is odd about where you're standing.
I'm afraid to even move and to make more noise.
That's fair. So I rolled really shitty on perception. They stand within a few feet of you, and a couple times they use their hand to kind of reach out in front of them like they're looking for something. You watch as a warden comes over and says, what are you doing? Get out of there. Get back to work. And they're like, yes, sir. And the wardens kind of pivot away and shrug their shoulders and disappear. Before long, another gondola arrives, and you silently step onto that gondola and begin to head back down into the depths of the Coal Spire and possibly back towards the Fate Walks Bridge where the Prancing Centaur is, because that's definitely where Melody would have headed towards at this point. Foreign, you are frantically trying to figure out how to take this thing apart
I'm starting
as
with the controls area. So worst case scenario, no one's going to pilot this thing. Like, I'll take all that stuff out first. It's also smaller, right?
So I'll say the risk here is that you do more damage than good in the process of dismantling it. But you're using the tome to help you do this, right? With the Unseen Servant at this point. You get the feeling it'll take you all night long to dismantle the pilot area because of its intricacies.
Okay.
So as long as you spend the whole night and you take a point of exhaustion for doing that, it'll allow you to successfully take apart the pilot seat.
Yeah. Like, first thing is, if this thing gets caught, this stuff at least is getting out of there.
Okay. So, Professor Jabatros, when you finally get to the skiff and you head the skiff down into the High True Station ruins, it's actually unfortunately pretty easy to find Forn because his trail of destruction, while he thought it was well developed, it makes it easier for you to kind of follow towards, because he kind of told you where he was. You get there and he is covered in grease and muck and like little superficial cuts from working into the night on this. He's not ready to go. The Sentinel's too big to put on the skiff. But as you arrive, Professor Jabatros, he's got all the parts of the pilot seat that could easily fit onto the skiff.
The skiff is big, as I remember. I was thinking it was like a little boat, but you described it as a lot larger. So, yeah.
So as you two are down there taking care of the Sentinel, Eritrea and Melody are heading back to the Prancing Centaur. Karina, it's late. Give me a con save to avoid taking a point of exhaustion, if you would, please.
Now I roll good. It's a 19.
Okay, so you don't take any exhaustion. And go ahead and give me investigation with advantage, because now you're taking your time and you're specifically trying to find a way into the rubble of this building.
17 and 23.
So 23. You find a section of stone that has some hollowed out parts of it where the collapse wasn't complete. You push your way through that rubble, and you find yourself in amongst a stairwell that seems to lead down into what might be a basement level. You follow those basement stairs down and down and down, and you come to a cracked and slightly broken inward wooden door, and written on the wooden door, it says the word archives.
Yes. Okay. In my fairy form, before I even go in, I'm gonna do detect magic a lot, just to make sure I don't trip on any alarms or any.
Detect magic lasts for 10 minutes, I believe. So as you put detect magic up, you get no sense of any kind of magical effects around you at this point. You fly through the busted remains of the archive door, and you end up inside of a stone round chamber. You went down maybe 30 feet into a basement area, and now you're in a large, round, intact chamber. And all around you are these strangely shaped shelves with just hundreds of documents. It would appear that the fire didn't make it down here. There are all these rolled up documents, these journals, these books. And it appears to be the archive of the Chandei Quorum and the city of Jrusar. But it's a lot of information and a lot of material.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna start by looking up material pertaining to Karina, the Lombroso family, and the House of Lulus.
Give me investigation as you start looking through the documents, trying to figure out if there's anything here.
That's an 8.
An 8. It's a lot of information. You're coming across like data related to population, taxation, like all this mundane kind of day-to-day business. These archives don't feel like they'd maintain secretive information. This feels like information that the Chandei Quorum uses to discuss how to run the city.
Can I do an investigation check to see if there is an area that feels a little bit more hidden, or if there is any
Yeah,
lock?
give me investigation as you try to look around and see if there's another secret access or a secret door that might be hidden nearby.
That's an 18.
18. In the center of the chamber, you notice that there's a 2 foot by 3 foot section of the floor that doesn't look quite right. You run your fingers along the edge of it. You feel a small metal button that you're able to press, and the trapdoor in the center of the chamber pops up. It just pops up. You're able to lift that trapdoor up and over. There is a metal ladder that seems to descend down into a darkened chamber.
I go down into the chamber of death.
Yeah, you start because are you in your pixie form still?
I'm still in my pixie form.
Yeah, you kind of fly and flitter down another 40 feet into what feels like a vault. It's a heavily carved out granite vault that's maybe 100 square feet. But as you arrive inside, like on a stone pedestal in the middle of the vault, there's a book. That's all that's down here. Just a simple book sitting on a pedestal.
I'm gonna do again both.
Your detect magic's still going to be active because it lasts 10 minutes. The book does not appear magical. However, there are magical signets on the pedestal that you pick up. There seem to be 3 magical signets that are protecting the book, and all 3 give off evocation school of magic. These feel heavily trapped and could be very dangerous.
Do any of them feel cursed? Does it feel like if I do remove curse, I would be able to maybe interact with it?
You're not really sure. You get the feeling that these could be, because of the school of magic, these feel like things that are designed to do people either great harm or restrain them from being able to leave.
Can I cast Identify as well as True Strike?
I would say Identify requires that you touch it. True Strike just requires that you point at it. You get the feeling that touching it could be very dangerous.
I'm gonna True Strike it.
Okay. As you point, and it automatically fails its save. This is called the Book of the Charter. This is the foundational book when Jrusar was founded as a city, and it's the first charter of the Chandei Quorum. It seems to be a relic of the founding of the city, and it seems to have no real magical ability. It's not a magic book, but it's heavily protected. You get the feeling there might be something either written or contained inside the book that might have important information, but you're not sure without touching it and potentially opening the book.
Can I do True Strike on the things that are protecting it?
I'll allow that because it's super creative. One is a signet of fireball protection. One is a signet of lightning, and one is a signet of petrification.
So I'd be petrified, burned, and electrocuted.
You feel like touching the book would trigger all 3 at the same time. So it feels like you take potentially a lot of damage, and then whatever's remaining would become petrified for people to kind of find who tried to take the book.
Makes sense. Sadly, I'm outclassed on this. But I am just going to try and take in as much information as I can by flying above it, maybe. Okay.
Kind of flying above it and around it, and you kind of draw a picture of it, take notes of the glyphs, the pedestal, the trapdoor. As you're in the midst of doing this, as you're in the middle of doing this, Hello down there. Is anyone down there? And you hear a voice echo down towards you. Then you hear another voice. If you're down there, you better come up now.
I'm gonna.
You get the feeling they don't know who's down there. They found the open trap door, and they found that the access into the archives is accessible. It sounds like wardens that were maybe just looking for survivors have now found this open trap door.
Yikes. I'm gonna take my little pixie self and hide in the corner, and while I'm hiding, I'm gonna start doing, which is faster to cast, Merge Stone or Tiny Hut?
I think Tiny Hut is instant. I mean, it should tell you in the spell for casting time.
Wait, why is it not coming up?
So for spell, Tiny Hut, casting time is 1 minute. And what's the other spell you were checking?
Merge with stone.
Merge with stone. Meld into stone, I think, is the
Meld
one.
into stone, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Meld into stone. 1 action, so that's instantaneous. It lasts for up to 8 hours.
Okay, I can do Melded Stone as ritual, which means I can only do it in 10 minutes, and the same as with Tiny Hut, because I'm out of spell slots. So I can only
Meld with stone you can do as an action or a ritual.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it as an action.
Okay, you quickly you feel yourself kind of meld and blend into the stonework of the room. As that happens, you can hear the metal boots of one of the wardens coming down, and then another one. The 3 of them standing around. Oh, thank God, it's still there. We should tell Lord Callion. And you overhear one of the other wardens go, what do you think's going to happen now that Jamansa Ord is dead and Lord Callion's the only surviving council member? I don't know, but it's going to be an interesting morning. And you can just hear the wardens climb up, and then you hear the trapdoor.
Oh, no.
As you hear the trapdoor being shut, you hear a clicking sound, and you hear a muffled voice. You two, stay here. Keep an eye on that until we have the book recovered or until we have further instructions. And then you're just kind of lost to the silence. With Eritrea and Melody heading back to the Prancing Centaur, Jalbatros and Forn mucking about with the Sentinel, Karina is now trapped in a secret room underneath the archive station of the Chandei Quorum. That is a perfect spot for us to stop for the night. That was epic, man. That was I can't. This is a milestone, everybody. Tonight was a milestone. So everybody is now level 7.
Well,
Level
it makes
7.
more sense that as I'm prying this thing apart, I get better at being an artificer.
Well, yeah. And you also get a point of exhaustion for doing it through the night.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, everybody, thank you for joining us. You guys go ahead and linger. We'll talk about the upcoming schedule. Everyone else, be kind, be safe, and don't forget to play a game. Good night, everybody. Oh, man, my studio smells like smoke.